Hey folks, Dude here, coming at you on Friday, September 18th, man. And the political debates are getting, I see, in a couple different levels, okay? Carly Fiorina kind of doing her thing. She's the soul chick, basically. She's doing her thing, and she makes some good points. In my heart of hearts, I don't think she's got a prayer, okay? I don't think that's really going to happen. I think she's got too much history, business side that's going to come back and, just, okay, she's not doing this or she did that or something else didn't work. I don't think that's going to happen. I think she's pretty much just, she's making a very good show. She's making awesome points. And she's also raising the bar for those people that are left, which is something that is exceedingly cool about this vetting process and these guys wearing each other down and, all the stuff like that there. Of course, still in the lead is Donald Trump. Now, the biggest, elephant in the room, quite literally, is Donald Trump, because he is bringing up the uncomfortable things, and he is not the deal maker, game player, follow along type, rhino, plutocratic, establishment, blue blood, follow along, whatever you want to call them, backdoor deal making guys, like, Boehner, and of course, like, Pelosi and all those guys that are basically doing all their stuff behind the scenes. They make a really, really good front, but when it comes right down to it, they are pretty much just, clean water that muddy water dumped into, and they're now a pile of crap, okay? They stand for nothing. They really don't want to do anything. Their biggest thing right now is those guys that are in the government in all these defining positions of power wish to stay in power. They'll play off each other all day long, but then at the end of the day, here is where you see them most emblematically. These guys will fight all day long in Congress and Senate and what have you, but at the end of the day, the dinner party, they are toasting one another and kissing each other's asses like good little suck-ups that they are to the political machine. Now, the thing about it is, for Donald Trump, is he is one of these guys that can say, you know what, I don't care about special interests. I don't care about all these guys that are throwing all their money in there and trying to buy, influence and what have you. I am financing myself. Be gone. I'm not going to buy into it. You're not going to buy into me. I'm not going to deal with your crap. He's the one to stand out in that regard. He said he's pretty much going to stay with the RNC. He's made a deal with them, and everybody's basically going to work with everybody else, and all the rest is happy horse stuff. But the thing about it is, for Donald Trump, is he does not need to take any money from special interests. He's already said, I'm willing to spend $1 billion. I'm willing to spend $1 billion on my political campaign, and I will support my own run. This is something that's been needing to happen for a very, very, very long time, is somebody with a set of balls that go on the floor and will follow through on their statements. Now, whether you like them or hate them, and whether he says the right things or the wrong things, that's also something else entirely. Like, they had this one guy just recently, I think it was just yesterday, they had a news thing where basically this guy pops up and goes, hey, what do you think about Obama's birth records? You were talking about that earlier. You said he's not even American. He's Muslim. He's not even Christian. What do you think about that? And Donald's just like, really? It's like, I'm trying to get elected president. I'm not going to be doing the birther crap right now, okay? I am trying to fix the country. Nice deviation, nice deflection, very nice distraction, not falling for it. This is what you need to have, is you need to have a guy who, like Trump, and very much before him, like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was infamous for this. They would go, hey, Ronald, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, well, let me tell you about, the so-and-so and so. And they're like, well, you didn't address the so-and-so and so. He goes, I'm not going to talk about that because, it's not even, he didn't even say, I'm not going to talk about it. He just kind of looked at the guy, smiled, and said, well, let me tell you something else that I think you should probably hear. And he basically just didn't even acknowledge the guy's statement, his point of issue, or the concepts they're in. That is how you need to handle these media type guys. When they throw out there, well, what are you going to do about taxes on blacks and, blah, 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 blah. He's going to go, okay, well, taxes on the country by and large are entirely too high, and everybody needs to take a major lessening on the amount of taxes on their persons. In terms of income level and what have you, I think it's probably going to be graduated and blah, 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 blah. But you don't even address it when they try to break it down into class warfare. That is the key. And that is something that is flat out awesome about Trump. He will not get suckered, snookered, or drug into this crap when they try to do this divisive horse crap and try to turn it into some kind of template thing that the liberals always do, where it's always a case of sex, gender. Well, sex and gender are pretty much about the same damn thing. It's just gender does not pertain to live people. Gender pertains on how you speak about them. But sex, sexual proclivities, sexual preferences, race, what kind of status you fall into, and conservative or, Democrat or Republican or, libertarian or any other crap. I mean, that's the other thing, too, is Democrats do not like, or liberals do not even like to acknowledge libertarians, because we're pretty much like, you know what, if it doesn't hurt anybody, have at it. If the country's sticking its nose in, it doesn't need to be there, we don't like it. That's pretty much about the size of it. Now, there is some controls we obviously do see as needed. And I'm jumping around a little bit here, but libertarians basically say the smallest amount of government that you need is all the government that you need, simply because it goes to the state levels. Closest government to you is the stuff you should be interacting more than anything, not the federal government going, okay, well, if you basically deal with a red-breasted snail sucker, you guys probably shouldn't be doing anything with this woods in this little area right here. That should never, ever hit the federal government, okay? That has nothing to do with the federal government other than it gave them something to basically go, okay, the little red-headed snail sucker here and, the left-titted blah, blah, blah over in this place, we basically have to take all these animals and make sure that they're safe from whatever, even though that they failed miserably at protecting these animals. I don't even want to get into the bit about, dumping all that toxic water down the river. Yeah, the EPA sucked on that one. But the nice thing about Trump, and I'm not just blowing his horn, okay? There's a lot of other guys that tend to do this too in government. Cruz is really good about it. Rand Paul is really good about it. There's a bunch of other guys that really tend, Trey Gowdy is just a phenomenal guy when you basically have the throw it in your face kind of thing, and he goes, you know what, I'm just going to reject that notion. I'm never going to deal with it. Here's what's going on. Those kind of guys, including Trump right now, are the people you need to watch. Not the guy that goes, oh, right, yeah, you're saying it affects blacks more, and it affects, gay agenda type of people more. Well, let's just talk about the black gays, and, no, you don't even get into that, okay? The reason being is those minorities are part of the greater whole. You discuss the whole, okay? Like G. Gordon Liddy always said on his radio show, when you're discussing logic, you always go to the general to the specific, never the specific to the general. When you're discussing logic, you start from the general and then you break it down. You don't go from the the little bits and pieces and try to make a greater piece out of it. Because if you're trying to fix things as president, you're not worried about just the gays, the blacks, the whites, the Latinos, and all the rest of that stuff. You're worried about fixing the entire country as a whole. All these other fractions and factions therein is stuff that makes up the problems that you have to address once you are president, not as you're becoming president. All this stuff that you're talking about now is policy in the first place. Policy can be changed. All these executive orders written and thrown down our throats by Obama can be overturned. All the next president has to do is go, you know what? It hasn't been policy in the past to ever do this with previous administrations, but you know what? All these are now null and void. With a stroke of a pen, the next president can say all of Obama's stuff is done. He can say all these things that he did that were reprehensible and were not good for the country, I have just removed as an actionable thing in the U.S. government. That's how you handle the things presidentially. You don't let some little guy pop up in the audience and go, hey, man, what are you going to do about women, blah, 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 and all, the abortion and this, that, and the other thing, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You don't do that when you're becoming president. You do that when you are president. And your policies therein probably, just like the old military line about the best laid plans of combat are thrown out the window as soon as you encounter the enemy, are exactly what you do when you are becoming president. You are putting yourself out there in a political arena to know your persona, know how you work, know the nuts and bolts of how you do decision making, and also your past history. All these things come into play. That is what you're doing. It is essentially, you are putting out your best face, and you're trying to show these people that you are worth their time to vote for. Not the fact that you said, I'm going to give special rights to Group A versus Group B, and everybody else in between. they're going to get special accreditation and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean a damn thing once you're elected president, okay? When you're elected president, you are dealing with a whole entire nation of 300 plus million people, not a small minority. You are trying to fix the problems for everybody. That's it in a nutshell, folks. I'm going to try to break off on this one, but, you know, I might find another tangent to talk about sometime. You know how that one works. Eat good, keep the tendering as always. You know it, you love it. Politics basically sucks. Good guys like Trump that basically, you know, throw it back in the politicians and the press's face, I like. That's good stuff. See you guys.